Davina! Can you tell us where you are? Egton Bridge, middle of the North Yorkshire Moors. I'm going to jump in a minute.
She just had a beautiful energy about her. I think she was an all-round kind person.
People just took to her.
My whole life I felt like I don't really know who my mum was, and I think I've just kind of accepted that in a way. I want to gain a better understanding of what she was like when she was younger and what she went through. I believe by talking to her friends and the people who knew her will really help me to kind of fill that part in my life which I've always questioned. What was Mum like when she was younger?
Well, she wasn't a quiet person. She was very energetic, very restless. She didn't like being at home much. She liked to be out and about all the time.
I met her around 8. I remember the first day at primary school. I came to the front of the classroom. I remember our teacher, Mr. Frost, and he said, I've got the perfect desk for you with a lovely girl. And he and he pointed to your mum, and she looked at me and gave me the bitchiest look. And, and I was like, so, we immediately started off as enemies.
Your mum and I met when she was 9 and I was 10. And I had moved from Lancashire to Norwich for my dad's work. And we were viewing a house that was just being built. And then a girl went past on her rollerblade with her little dog, Pepsi. And we just looked at each other and went, hi. And she said, well, my name is Davina and I live over there and we can be friends. I was so excited. My mum and dad got in the car on the way back and I was like, I've met a friend, she's my best friend. And I couldn't remember. And I said, her name is Ribena. And she has a little dog called Pepsi. And they just thought I was making it up.
I look back and I just think, how incredible that the only desk at that classroom was the one next to your mum, because she and I were definitely meant to be friends. She had a sweet heart, but she had a vulnerability and a naivety about her. Davina was definitely quieter, shyer, more inward. I think that was also part of her beauty.
You'd walk into a room and the girls always wanted to be friends with her. The boys always wanted to date her like this. She was surrounded.
She wasn't aware how gorgeous she was.
She was outgoing. She was confident, but not in a extrovert way. She was one of those friends who, if you hadn't seen for 6 months, it would always go back to as if you'd seen her yesterday. Dee was always there. Talk for hours. Absolutely talk for hours.
After talking to her friends, it was amazing to hear how similar me and my mum are in certain ways, especially the fact that we both take a while to warm up to people. What did she tell you about Dad when they first met?
She said, I met someone, he's really, really, really nice. She said, but he's a big, loud northerner with plenty to say.
What were your first impressions then?
I liked him. Yeah, I liked him straight away.
When I first saw her, she was wearing a brown leather jacket. She looked really cool. I thought she was really, really, really pretty.
He'd been out on a night out in the city with his friend Nick, and apparently they were in the taxi queue. They got in the taxi and said where they wanted to be, and your mum said, can I share your taxi? Because I need to be that way. So she got in the taxi.
It was probably about midnight. I'd ordered a taxi home, but then all of a sudden I went back to Rackheath with Davina.
They just started talking like, I don't know, they just got on very well from the start. Dad said to her, I like your jacket, and she said, I like your shoes, which was a sort of just a little thing between them. I think it meant a lot to them.
So it was just like an instant attraction, really. I fancied her.
You just knew that they were going to be together.
It was all quite quick. There was a petrol crisis in Norwich at that time, so we made the decision for Davina to sort of move in with me in my house. I think we'd only been together about 6 or 8 weeks.
They seemed very, very happy, and well, that was enough for me, as long as they were happy and knew what they seemed to know what they were doing. So
then we went to Portugal the following year, and I don't think we knew at the time, but Davina was then pregnant with Mia.
I took my little girl to the toddler group at the village hall, and your mum was there, and she must have just decided like I was on my own and she was going to speak to me. So she obviously had no idea who I was, and she was just being friendly to me because I didn't have anyone to talk to, which makes me feel really emotional. I said like, that just says like how nice she was. Like she noticed I was on my own and wanted to be friendly so that I didn't feel lonely probably as the new girl.
Not too long after Mia was born, she had fell pregnant with you.
You happy? Are you happy? That's Mia's. That's Mia's.
Mia's. Nanny bought you a present too. And Grandpa. Is that Indy's? I think that's it.
They were booked to get married in June 2006. And then unfortunately she wasn't very well.
Like we didn't know she was really ill to begin with. And she was getting frustrated that she was bleeding all the time. And she was saying, I'm going to have the wedding. I don't want this to be going on when it's the wedding.
She told me she'd been to the doctors and said that things weren't right because she was having very peculiar periods and pain.
the most thing she was doing was to get a doctor to take her seriously. So they got a private appointment very, very quickly, and the doctor who looked at her said very, very quickly, I think you need to go and get a scan. He organised a scan the next day, I think.
She started feeling a little bit unwell, went to see the doctors a few times, and we went for some checks, and then that's when we found out that she was diagnosed with cancer. So, yeah.
Yeah, come on in, hold up to Mummy so you can see Mummy.
Finding out that it took my mum so long to officially get diagnosed with cancer definitely made me feel frustrated that she wasn't taken seriously enough, because if they had recognised it earlier on, then she might possibly still be here and I would have my mum.
When she was diagnosed with the cancer, they said it could have been there a long, long time, but it was very, very deep-seated, and that's why it never shown up on cervical scans and things.
She got lots and lots of treatment, but I think it was always a little bit too late. I think it was just to make him more comfortable more than anything.
She had lots of chemo, and I think she had, I don't know if it was about 13 weeks of chemo.
We got married on the 19th of February, but I think your mum had already started chemotherapy a few weeks before, so it was quite a tough day for her. She was in a lot of pain. We should have got married in Cyprus, but obviously when she got poorly we had to cancel that wedding and that holiday and then try and organise the wedding really quickly in Dunstan Hall, because she thought she was going to lose her hair, and that's why she wanted to get married really quickly so she didn't lose her hair.
I think she just wanted to have her wedding day quickly, because I don't think she really knew how much, she wasn't 100% how much time she had left.
Was she in a lot of pain throughout the day?
Yeah, fairly. The morning of her wedding day, she did ring me and said she was in pain and could I get a pain doctor to her. But the hotel got a doctor to her a bit quicker, so she was okay in the end. You would never think she was as ill as she was.
Shows you ring, Davina.
It seems strange seeing the ring on her.
And she had lovely hair. She had lovely, really thick hair, about down here, bobbed. And after the wedding, she had it all cut off.
I don't think either of us kind of realised how severe it was. But I think the tumour did start going down at first. So we thought that the medicine that she was taking was helping. And then she went back for another x-ray 3 or 4 weeks later. And then it kind of grew on again. But they said it was like at a stage already where it was terminal. And they never actually told us how quickly things could get. From that point we kind of knew.
When Mum eventually came to live back with me, so I could look after her, she talked about how she would never see you grow up and how she'd never see you get married or go to uni or see how you turned out, which is that's hard, isn't it? Really, really hard. That was the hardest bit for her.
I kind of feel disconnected from my mum sometimes because it happened to me at such a young age, and it's easy to feel like I've only ever had my dad. Hearing that my mum struggled with the concept of not being able to watch me and my sister grow up, I think it makes it hard because it made it feel more real, because she is my mum and she gave birth to me and she won't be able to see me do these important things in my life.
I called your mum out the blue, and I didn't know she was married. I didn't know she had you 2 kids. So I called her mum's house, and her mum answered, and I just said, "Hey Glenn, it's Claire. I'm trying to get hold of Davina. I'd love to reconnect." And she went, "I better get Davina." And Davina came on the phone, and I said, "Hey Binny," and she said, "Why are you calling me?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I know there's been a long time past, but we'll always be friends. I just wanted to reconnect." I said, "What's going on?" And she said, "Claire, I've got I've got cancer, and I think someone died inside of me."
It was traumatic hearing that she got cancer. I was shocked as anything, and that he was unlikely to survive it seemed unfair.
The last time that I saw her was at your grandparents' house. But she talked to me on that day about your granddad taking her for walks every day in the wheelchair up the road. And that seemed like that was a really special thing for her. And she also told me about your nanny getting in her bed and giving her cuddles and things like that. Almost, like she obviously felt really cared for.
We then decided to put the house on the market so we could move into a bungalow, so it would make it easier for her to move about in the house, spend more time with you two when she was poorly.
It did occur to me she probably thought she was going to have longer than she did, because otherwise there wouldn't have been any point of you moving.
It was December, and Mum was at Nanny's, and we were down and we were cleaning the house, ready for you to move out and getting the bungalow ready. Got Christmas tree up. Dad wanted the Christmas tree up ready for her to come home, and unfortunately she never made it home, and she died 2 days before Christmas.
It was a little bit surreal. Can't really remember too much about it really. It was all a bit, I think I've kind of blocked it off from my memory a little bit.
When she actually died, there weren't anyone with her. She was on that pain machine then. I just checked that, and I thought, I'll go make myself a cup of tea now and go back and drink it at her bedside. But then when I was waiting for the kettle to boil, I saw the newspaper that I usually read, I sort of started flicking through that, and I ended up drinking the tea in the kitchen and then going in, and by that time she'd gone. So there wasn't anyone with her. That's the most horriblest regret that I have.
It makes me feel sorry for her that she didn't have anyone beside her when she died, because she didn't deserve to be by herself.
I remember hearing it and just really, really hard. Just unbelievable. Like, you just can't believe someone like that would happen to someone like that, who had so much to live for. And I feel like she had found herself and she was now living what she always wanted, and that was to be a wife and to be a mum to two gorgeous girls. And it seemed so tragic that would be cut short. Seemed unfair.
I called up to speak to your mum, and your mum wasn't able to come to the phone. And then when I called her back a day or two later, she'd passed. But she was my best friend in the whole world. And I often talk to her now, because we just got each other. She just got me.
The fact, she's not here is devastating. Really is.
Your dad organised the most wonderful funeral. Fabulous it was, service. He really put a lot of thought into it.
I came down to the funeral, and I don't even remember sitting at the funeral. I remember it just being absolutely packed.
There were so many people there, they couldn't all get in. There was all crowds of people outside as well.
How many people do you think were there?
Hundreds. Really. It's amazing.
Was it nice to see that she had that effect on people, that they all wanted to come?
It was a beautiful ceremony, but it was so upsetting. There were lots and lots of people there. For a long time afterwards, you used to see Mummy around. It was quite unnerving. You used to say, there's Mummy over there, and point. But you never ever attempted to try to go to her.
I do find it hard to talk about it sometimes. It was like a really hard part of my life, and then obviously changed my life completely. At the time, I was just going to work, and that's kind of all I knew. And then all of a sudden to stop going to work and then be just a full-time dad, it's a bit of just different, completely different. Something that you've not done before. Something as a man you're not really kind of expected to do. But yeah, it was a hard time for me, and it was a hard time for everybody who was related to her at the time. Unfortunately, it's one of those things, and we have to deal with it. And mentally, you try and deal with it, but there's always part of you which will be always upset. She was the first person that kind of made me look at doing something different with I never thought about having children before I met your mum. She kind of made me want to have children, because I think sometimes when you speak to the right person, So my whole life completely changed the night I met your mum, and for the better. It's okay.
I think making this documentary has really helped me understand who she was and how she acted, and understand where me and my sister might get some of our personality traits from. But I think, to be completely honest, this documentary has helped me to feel better about myself. My dad's done an amazing job raising me and my sister. Although he was going through a really hard time himself, he managed to keep a smile on his face and be happy for us both.